I've never seen a medicine for foolishness. There's none. You know, a fool, let me not say a fool, let me say, if you don't know that you don't know, which medicine can you take? To let you know that you don't know.
You will not know the medicine.
Yes. So if you don't know that you don't know, you'll never know that you don't know, and therefore you'll never know, and you are condemned to perpetual ignorance. So since this took office, it has been perpetuating ignorance from day one to the last. First they said they found empty coffers, isn't it? That was an incompetent statement. How do you find empty coffers? First of all, does government have a bank account where the money will be?
No.
Where are the government coffers? Can you show me where they are? Huh? No, tell me. As an economist, we know the government collects taxes every day.
Every day.
That money goes to consolidated fund and is spent as it goes. So did Uhuru Kenyatta hand over to them a bank account with a checkbook which was empty? So if you hear this incompetent statement, and these people talk to Kenyans as if all Kenyans are as uneducated as them, isn't it? All Kenyans are as foolish as them, then we allow foolishness to lead the country. Now let me ask you, Bon, if you are a professor,
welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much, guys, for your greatest support. My name is Prof, and as usual, this is Bonita Media, and I'm going to be your host for today. Now, it's a very good afternoon that I'm very glad to host Professor Fred Ogola, one of the presidential candidates we have in this country, a very promising man that I know. There are a lot of things that we're going to discuss with him. He's going to tell us why he decided to run for the presidency instead of just maintaining his line as a professor, and many, many more. But before we do that, to the Bonita Media community and family, we have a project going on that is visiting the children's home. We did it last month and we did it perfectly. And I really appreciate you for the participation, those who participated. Thank you guys. God bless you. Asanteni sana. And this time round, we are going to buy paints for the children to make sure that the environment where they're living is safe and is also conducive for them. So that is what we're going to do, just to the number of the screen, and I know that all is going to be well. Now let's get back to our discussion, and Prof.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, my brother.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
It's been long.
Yes.
Almost a year.
Yeah, before we saw Bonita, yes.
Before we saw Bonita.
Yes.
Now, before I ask you what I want to ask you, because we have a lot of things to talk about, let me ask you this question. A candle gives light and heat. But before it gives that light and heat, it first burns itself. Why do you think so?
I think that these are things created by nature, so they have to follow the laws of nature. Some of us want to give, but they don't want to suffer. Some of us want to offer something, they don't want to suffer. So it's just saying that the candle must sacrifice itself. Remember, as a Catholic, we have what's called the Easter candle. Easter candle is a very important candle because from that candle, you light all other candles and fill the church. And the Easter candle is a symbol of the sacrificial lamp. So even for Jesus to give us salvation, he had to sacrifice himself. So I think it's just a lesson by saying that if you want to give some heat, you want to give some warmth, you want to give some light, you should be able to suffer. Like, for example, as a professor, to become a professor that you can be able to educate people, you must have sat down and suffered out to win, actually to educate yourself. But not just me, even in the media. You also have to study your art. When you go and buy a chapati or mandazi on the road, for someone to offer you a chapati, maybe those people even got burnt by oil. They were on the fire where they were doing it. So it's all that there's nothing you can give if you don't sacrifice anything. The reasons why I've asked you that analogy is because right now you want to run for the presidency. And there are a lot of sacrifices that you made as a person at your own personal level before making that decision that now I want to run for the presidency, right? Like you are now, now going for the presidency is now different for being a professor. Yes.
Yeah. So it's like now you're quitting. You are your line of your line of duty. You're going to a different path.
Yeah.
But my first question is this: you want to run for the presidency? Yes. Why?
Don't say I want to run. I'm running.
You are running for the presidency. Okay.
Yes. Not that I want. It's a decision which has been made.
Okay.
The only thing that can stop this decision is if God calls me, or maybe if God reveals to me something different. But all revelation are showing that this I should do. You're asking about which sacrifice I have to make. There are 3 types of men. There's what they call a family man. A family man talks about his family, my kids, my wife, my what, isn't it? So they can you have a meeting? No, I'm going to spend some time with my wife, my kid, my grandmother, my father. They only talk about themselves. This kind of men cannot be able to help beyond their family. But also there's what's called the corporate men who talks about my work, my boss, boardroom meetings. They only talk about that. But there's a third man called a heroic man. A heroic man can sacrifice his family and sacrifice his corporate life for a greater good. And that's why I am. I mean, I have sacrificed a lot. I've slept in a cell. I've been arrested 12 times. Sometimes even you find that your family wonders whether this is what they should be. The wife can ask you, did I come here to marry my own bed when you are in a cell? So these are sacrifices being made. Sometimes my family, every evening they call and check whether I have arrived at home and I'm alive. Because they just think that something can happen. So these are sacrifices you have to make. So why run for president? First of all, we have 56 million Kenyans who can run for this office. But why Fred Ogola? Since I was born, and maybe even since you're born, you heard Kenya was heading in the wrong direction. Now I'm 43 years old, isn't it? Hatujafika. How can you be heading in the wrong direction for 43 years and you have not reached? And no one has told us we have now left the wrong direction, we're in the right direction. So I believe Kenya has arrived in the wrong direction. So we are at the destination. So the question we're asking, who will take us out of here? In the book of Isaiah, I hear the Lord says, whom shall I send? And I say, here I am, Lord, send me. So I'm running because I believe I've been sent by God to rescue the people of Kenya. Because if you look at, when I'm looking at the political environment, I'm looking at the terrain, I'm looking at who will win the ballot, you realize that the people I'm hearing, they haven't answered the question. The question. If you walk from Busia to Mombasa, you move from Mandera, you go all the way to Turkana, you traverse Mount Kenya, you go all the way to Rift Valley. There's one problem that affects everybody, and that problem is economic. Tell me any of those people who are considering to run or are running, whether they have come with an answer to that problem. They have come with a political solution to an economic problem, which means they have not diagnosed the Kenyan problem. You know, before a doctor gives you medicine, the doctor will do a proper diagnostic. Then after diagnostic, they make a decision saying this person has malaria. I have done the diagnostics. I discovered the Kenyan problem is economic. My competitors think it is political. That's why you are hearing all the political noises. And they don't have a solution for it. People go to a rally when they are hungry. They leave when they are hungry and now even tired. Some of them get back when they are hurt. Can the Kenyan problem be solved on top of a vehicle?
You can't.
You can't. Then, when they want to go overseas to look for a solution for Kenya, they go to New York. New York's the political capital of the world, isn't it? But would you go to a political capital to solve economic problem?
You can't.
Or you'll go to economic capital to solve economic problem. So I went to New York to see why is New York that good? How comes they're the financial center of the world? How comes even the UN Security Council is there? Even the UN General Assembly will be in New York. But you see all political organizations are in Washington. So I believe the Kenyan problem is economic. I have the economic formula to solve this problem. And I believe that should any other person come with a better recipe and a better formula, then I will give way to them. But so far, I am seeing better politicians than anybody who is an economist who can solve the Kenyan problem. And also, if you look, all Kenyan presidents, all past Kenyan presidents have been made by the system. When Kenyans went to fight for Mau Mau, the Mau Mau fighters never took control of government. Government was taken over by the home guards. So Kenyatta was a home guard. So they threw away the Mau Mau fighters. That's why the Mau Mau people's problem has never been solved. The poverty they had, they still have.
It's still the same.
But the home guards who are enjoying in the house of the colonial powers took power. Now, when they took power as the part of the system, Moi was part of the system. Then Moi handed over to Kibaki. Kibaki was part of the system. And then Kibaki handed over to Uhuru, who was also part of the system. Uhuru handed over to the current president,
William RUTO,
who is also part of the system. So these people have been hired by the system. Whom do they work for? They work for the system. So Fred Ogola, I'm not part of any system. That's why I'm leaving classroom, I'm leaving academia, I'm leaving corporate world, so that I can become the Kenyan project. So that Kenyans can hire me. And I will work for who has hired me. Have you seen these people working as if Kenyans are not their bosses? How would you raise taxes, then when a Kenyans come to the city, you shoot them? Who is the boss? You are shooting the boss.
Your boss.
Have you heard where someone has shot their boss?
It's very difficult.
Which means we are not their bosses. Their bosses are the system. So the system will shoot you on their behalf, isn't it? So we want a president who is a president for Kenya, and the president who is a project of Kenyans, who will serve Kenyans, not who will serve the system. And that's why I'm running.
Prof, talking about the system, were you not part of Mwai Kibaki's advisories, economic experts?
But I was not part of his employee. He never employed me.
But you were under...
I was working with European Central Bank, and I was seconded by European Central Bank to advise him on how to mobilize money for primary education. So I was economic advisor, who he never paid, but advised him. Now we have advisors in the government who are paid,
not advising,
and they are not advising. And Kibaki never paid my salary. My salary was paid by European Central Bank. Remember, I hated politics. In fact, when I met Kibaki in Brussels, I filmed that talking to him about Kenya, because I did not want my reputation to be damaged. But I was asked by my boss at European Central Bank to listen to him. So I told my boss under one condition, that if I'm to work for him, he pays you and you pay me. He does not pay me. So imagine my allowances were being sent to European Central Bank in Brussels, and my boss sends me to Kenya. I do my work, and I also said no photography. Don't photograph me saying I'm advising the president. Now, these advisors who take selfies, take photos and videos of the president, yet we are going in the wrong direction, and they can't. Look at the fuel prices. Look at the SHA. Look at the education funding model. Look at the unemployment in Kenya. Look at the debt crisis. Look at the inflation. Look at high interest rates. Look at the low purchasing power of the shilling. All these things compounds the Kenyan problem, which is economic. They do not know how to solve it, and they are clueless about it. And just to tell you why they are not advising him properly, and even him who is being advised is incapable of being advised, the president said in public that the reason why the fuel is more expensive in Kenya is because the Kenyan road network is equivalent to road network of 6 countries, isn't it?
Yeah.
You heard that?
Yeah, I heard that.
Now, I'm an economist. That is economic misnomer. That is the most stupid economic statement someone can ever make. because there's what you call economies of scale. When you have more road network, you are able to lower the cost of fuel if you are paying 18 shillings per liter. You know, for every time you buy fuel, for example, the fuel is now 206 shillings, 18 shillings goes to fuel levy.
Yeah.
Why should the road network be more expensive to maintain? And the economies of scale is shattered. The economy scale should drive down the cost of fuel, not up.
Not up.
So if a whole president says that, why should Kenyans continue trusting him with this position? If you can make economic statement like that, you know, economy is everything. It is your school, it's your education, it's your food, everything. So if you have a president who do not understand such simple economic sense called economies of scale, why should you become being president? And then advisors who are there are paid high money. So simply said, these people don't know how to advise him, or at least he does not know how to take advice. But let me tell you what, let's not go there. My main thing is that we have a government that is grossly corrupt and grossly incompetent, and you cannot advise an incompetent person, because the people who are incompetent, even if you advise them, they are incompetent in taking that very advice
that you are giving.
Yes, and they are so incompetent even to know that they are wrong. You know, I've never seen a medicine for foolishness. There's none. You know, a fool, let me not say the word a fool, let me say, if you don't know that you don't know, which medicine can you take to let you know that you don't know?
You will not know the medicine.
Yes. So if you don't know that you don't know, you'll never know that you don't know, and therefore you'll never know, and you are condemned to perpetual ignorance. So since this is what took office, it has been perpetuating ignorance from day one to the last. First they said they found empty coffers, isn't it? That was an incompetent statement. How do you find empty coffers? First of all, does government have a bank account where the money will be?
No.
Where are the government coffers? Can you show me where they are? Huh? No, tell me. As an economist, we know the government collects taxes every day.
Every day.
That money goes to consolidated fund and is spent as it goes. So did Uhuru Kenyatta hand over to them a bank account with a checkbook which was empty? So if you hear this incompetent statement, and these people talk to Kenyans as if all Kenyans are as uneducated as them, isn't it? All Kenyans are as foolish as them, then we allow foolishness to lead the country. Now let me ask you, Bon, if you are a professor of economics, you sit back there and said, me, I'm an economist, let me teach in class. But the economy running the country is not the one you're teaching in class.
It's different.
It's for somebody who is completely incompetent in economics running you. So even you as a professor, you teach good economics in class. When you leave, you enter in a car, fuel prices are hitting you because someone incompetent is running the economy. You go to hospital, things don't work, but you say, let me continue teaching while the incompetent person is making the decision.
Making the decisions, yeah.
So why don't you go make that decision? You know, when I was in New York, I had just finished making my speech in Fordham University. Then an audience, somebody carried their hand in the audience, told me, excuse me, your president is in Washington as we speak. And he has promised people in Washington that he will take Kenya to the first world from third world. Yeah. What is your take? Because you're saying you know economics, but your president says he can take them from third world to first world.
Without considering economics.
Yeah, now I said, first of all, third world and first world, those concepts were concepts which existed during the Cold War. Do you know that Africa is not third world? Because first world were the countries that were believing in USA. The second world was USSR. The third world are countries that resisted both
USA and
USSR and USA. Yeah. So how do you take us now from third world to first world? Then he ended by saying that first world is Singapore. Let me tell you what. During the Cold War, Singapore, Japan, Korea were third world because they resisted to join first world or second world. So now, you understand now, your president goes to make speeches and then he's corrected. He goes somewhere, then he's being told he was lying. Now, you as a Kenyan, do you want to continue being led by somebody who makes speeches that sort of sabotages you or even brings you shame and also is being corrected to be lies? Or do you want to be led by somebody who knows, or even if he doesn't know, he can put a competent team in office to advise him do the right thing? If you look at this government, the formation of this government, they have assembled the most incompetent team led by the most incompetent of them. Because you see what's happening? When people are incompetent, to look competent, they surround themselves with very incompetent people to look competent. Just like I told you, it's called a wingman theory. If you are a short man, don't walk next to tall people.
Look for
some short people, then all of a sudden you are very tall. If you are very dark, walk next to dark people. If you walk next to Sudanese, you look chocolate brown. So I'm saying the president is looking good because of those around him.
Who are incompetent.
Yes. When we assembled for Raila a team that was going to take over government, they were highly qualified people.
From the look.
From the looks, they were highly qualified people. Now those people have joined the incompetent man. How do they look?
Very incompetent.
Some of them was called the intellectual. Now I'm told if they say intellectual, you have to add a word dwarf.
The intellectual dwarf.
So when you say intellectual, you add another word dwarf. So how comes anybody joining you start looking very incompetent?
You must be incompetent more than them to prove a point.
Like now you see the deputy president is a professor. Do you see a professional standard of behavior?
No.
What's the problem? So I'm telling Kenyans, I'm sorry, that you have to hire your most competent person. Let's go to Singapore. The president of Singapore is the most qualified economist. So if you go sit to him, you first of all, you are afraid to make economic statements. Now, if you go sit to your current president, are you scared about anything you are going to say economically? You are not.
You cannot.
Because you are definitely better. But if someone comes to talk to me about economics, you must be economically sound to communicate with me. You must be economically intelligible to communicate because I understand economics. But these guys are politically intelligent and qualified. So that's why the people who thrive in this country are politicians. The ones who suffer are non-politicians. That's why you see even now in Nairobi County, somebody who has not gone up to class 8 has been appointed in a board and has fired a doctor.